Have you ever looked at the blockbuster new launch and asked yourself, am I buying a legacy asset that will secure my retirement? Or am I just buying a massive premium so I can buy groceries in my slippers? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dante. Today we are putting the absolute heavyweight of the East under the microscope, Pinery Residences. Right now the entire market is hyped about the mall, the underground link, and the developer's pedigree. But the million-dollar question we need to answer today is this: is the integrated premium actually worth it? Or is it the most expensive trap that we can step into in District 18? So in this episode, we will be going to tear the project apart. We aren't just looking at the glossy brochures, we are asking the hard questions that you should be thinking about. Who actually pays for an integrated premium on the resale market? And what about the elephant in the room? The Rivelle EC launching right next door. Is a cheaper EC a genuine threat to your future pricing? Or is it the ultimate decoy for amateur investors? If you want to know how to bypass the developer's premium traps, lock in the highest quantum growth, and secure the safest exit strategy in Tampines, grab your coffee, hit that subscribe button. Let's start with the foundation. What exactly are we buying into at Tampines Street 94? We are looking at a massive 23,500 square meter plot featuring 588 residential units. Downstairs, you have the Pinery Mall featuring 11,300 square meters of commercial space. There will be a confirmed supermarket, food court, retail shops, and a childcare centre. But ask yourselves this: what makes a development truly integrated? Technically, by URA's strict definition, Pinery is a mixed-use development. But does the average resale buyer in 2035 care about URA classifications? Probably not. They care about whether they'll get wet when it rains. And with a direct sheltered underground walkway straight into Tampines West MRT, Pinery is as close to an integrated as you can get. So the developers behind this are the powerhouse duo of Hoi Hub Realty and Sunway Developments. So why should you care? Because the developer dictates the future tenant profile. Hoi Hub is always very obsessed with livability. They don't build gimmicky shoebox units. Notice something missing from the unit mix. There are exactly zero one-bedroom units in this entire project. Why would the developer completely ignore the lucrative one-bedroom investor market? Because the developers are designing an unapologetic, pure family-centric and owner-occupied ecosystem. And in real estate, who holds prices steady during a market downturn? It's the owner-occupiers. So now let's talk about the location. Why do people pay a premium for Tampines West? First of all, we have to talk about the edu zone. Pinery sits comfortably within the 1 kilometer radius of St. Hilda's Primary School. Why does a primary school dictate property prices? Because securing a top-tier primary school is practically an extreme sport. Being within that 1 kilometer radius isn't just a lifestyle perk, it's a literal price floor guarantee. But ask yourself this: when your child graduates, who buys your unit? To answer that, look at the macro data. Do you know that Tampines is the largest HDB town in Singapore? It has over 84,000 dwelling units. Over the next few years, more than 4,100 newly built HDB units in this specific Tampines West cluster will hit their MOP. And if we just assume that 10% of them want to upgrade to a condo, that will be a massive localized demand pool. Ask yourself this: when people upgrade, do they move across the island? Very rarely. They will like to stay near their parents, their kids' school, and their familiar hawker centers. So when you ask who your exit strategy is, the answer is simple. Your future resale buyer is literally living across the street right now. Let's zoom out. Normally, when the government builds an MRT and an integrated hub, it's to anchor a brand new empty township. Think about Woodleigh or Lentor. You buy in and you wait for years for the population to arrive. But why drop a brand new mall into Tampines West? Because Pinery works in reverse. Tampines West is incredibly mature. The population is already there. By dropping an MRT-linked mall into a mature estate, Pinery marks the start of the infrastructure rejuvenation phase. You aren't waiting for demand to arrive, you are capturing a massive pent-up demand from day one. And the growth story is massive. By 2030, the Paya Lebar Airbase relocation begins, freeing up 800 hectares of land. On the other side, Changi Airport Terminal 5 opens in the mid-2030s. These are the two colossal employment nodes being built right on the flanks of Tampines. Where do you think high-income aviation and tech professionals are going to rent? Exactly where the MRT and the supermarket are. But let's take a moment. If it's so perfect, why wouldn't I buy Pinery Residences? Let's get into the analysis. Reason number 1, the privacy tax. When you live above a mall, you gain convenience, but you sacrifice exclusivity. During evenings and weekends, non-residents are going to be driving in, parking, and walking around. Do you really want to come home to a chaotic energy? Reason number 2, the 8-lane chokehold. Pinery is flanked by Tampines Avenue 1, a massive 8-lane road, and Bedok Reservoir Road. During peak hours, these intersections are jammed. Are you paying a premium for convenience, or are you paying for noise? If you buy the wrong step facing the main road, you're going to hear that white noise every single time you open your balcony doors. Reason number 3, the integrated premium. Historically, integrated projects command a 10 to 20% premium. You have to ask yourself this: am I paying a massive premium just for the status of a mall downstairs, when that same money could buy me a bigger sized unit in a pure residential project down the road? Space dictates future family demand far more than a food court does. Now let's flip the coin. Why will I buy it? Let's talk about price sustainability. A lot of people will look at the indicative preview prices from 2340 per square feet and scream that it's overpriced. But is it really expensive? Or is your benchmark just outdated? Let's do the math on land costs. Hoi Hub won this land at 1004 PSF PPR. Just recently, the very last plot in Lentor Central was sold to Guaco Land for 1278 PSF PPR. That is almost $280 more per square feet for a location that doesn't even have a localized HDB upgrader pool. When Lentor launches next year, suddenly buying an MRT-linked mall project in Tampines at 2,400 per square feet looks like an absolute steal. Let's rip into the floor plans. If you're an investor looking at two-beders, pay very close attention, because there is an expensive trap here. Look at the 635 square feet Type 2 B2 layout. Do you see what the developer did? They essentially merged the dining area directly into the open galley kitchen. It is an overlapping classification of space. Ask yourself, where are you actually going to be putting your dining table without blocking the walkway? In the resale market, buyers hate overlapping spaces because it limits their furniture placement. Instead, you will want the 624 square feet Type B1 layout. It's the classic Hoi Hub dumbbell layout. Bedrooms on opposite ends, zero wasted corridor space, and they even threw in a small store provision. Why pay more for 635 square feet of awkward space when 624 square feet gives you the perfect efficiency? For families, the 3-beders are the core of this project, making up 35% of the mix. How does Pinery stack up against its direct rival, Parktown Residences in Tampines North? Parktown took a very different strategy. Their smallest 3-bedroom is a massive 926 square feet. At Pinery, the entry-level 3-bedroom is an ultra-efficient 807 square feet. Why did Hoi Hub build smaller 3-beders? Because of quantum gap. Pinery's absolute price tag for a 3-bedder is going to be noticeably lower than Parktown's. Lower absolute prices make the units infinitely easier to sell during weaker resale markets. My top pick for families is the 872 square feet Type C3 layout. Thanks to GFA harmonization, you will get a proper enclosed kitchen with a window, nice foyer area for privacy, and a beautifully squarish living room. Is a foyer a waste of space or the ultimate privacy shield? When you live in a dense hub, the buffer zone between your front door and your living room is priceless. So how can we find the sweet spot and beat the developer at their own game? First, identify the unique selling points. People do not buy Pinery Residences for sweeping greenery views. People buy Pinery Residences because they want convenience. Therefore, your absolute top priority blocks are Block 930 and Block 932. These two lobbies are positioned nearest to the supermarket and the underground MRT link. But how can we avoid overpaying? We have to predict the developer's pricing strategy on launch day. If the developer aggressively marks up the pool-facing units, say charging 100k more just for you to look at the waters, then you pivot. You buy the HDB-facing units on Tampines Avenue 1. Why? Because if the pool view costs 100k more, will the future resale buyer care? Probably not. They are buying the unit for the MRT and the mall. They want to secure the convenience and refuse to pay the premium for the view. Finally, let's talk about the ultimate threat. Simlian's Rivelle EC, launching diagonally across at Tampines Street 95. A lot of buyers are terrified. Why would anyone buy Pinery when the Rivelle EC is previewing right now from just 1.588 million for a 3-bedroom unit? Is an EC a genuine threat, or is it a trap? Let's talk about liquidity. Buying an EC locks you in for 3 to 4 years of construction plus a 5-year MOP period. You are staring down a 10-year prison sentence on your capital. If your life circumstances changes, your money is trapped. Furthermore, during those 10 years, you are bounded by the MSR limit of 30%, which severely restricts how much loan we can take. Pinery will TOP in late 2029 or early 2030. The Rivelle EC won't even hit the open resale market until 2035. You can enjoy your capital appreciation, collect high rental yields, or flip the property to an HDB upgrader long before Rivelle even becomes a competitor. Options give you safety, locking in does not. So let's wrap this episode up. Is Pinery Residences a good buy or a good buy? If you buy the wrong stack facing the 8-lane road, overpay for a pool view you don't need, or trap yourself in that cramped 635 square feet layout, you are going to face misery. If you stick to the data and if you buy the blocks nearest to the MRT, focus on the highly efficient dumbbell layouts, and lock in that first mover advantage in a mature estate, this project is an undisputed what? Execution is everything. You will need to know exactly how to interpret the price list the second it drops. You can reach out to me directly via this number below. Let's sit down, review the data, analyze the exact stacks, and position yourself to win on ballot day. Drop a comment below. Are you a team buy or a team good buy? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell icon. I'm Dante, and I'll see you at the show flat.